The rhythmic hum of plasma coils filled the maintenance bay of Outpost Sigma 7 as Sarah Chen adjusted her magnetic boots against the station's artificial gravity fluctuations. The ancient station, positioned at the edge of human space, groaned under the strain of its aging systems. Sarah wiped the sweat from her brow, leaving a streak of grease across her forehead as she studied the diagnostic panel before her. Chen. The sharp voice of Chief Engineer Matthews cut through the ambient noise. Those calibrations better be done by end of shift. The Defense Force inspection team arrives tomorrow, and I won't have them finding any deficiencies in my bay. Sarah suppressed a sigh. At 24, she was the youngest senior mechanic in the station's history, but Matthews never missed an opportunity to remind her that she was still just a rookie in his eyes. Almost finished, Chief. Just getting some unusual readings from Bay 6. Matthew's weathered face creased with annoyance. Bay 6 is decommissioned. Has been for 15 years. Focus on the active systems. But Sarah's attention had already shifted to the anomaly on her scanner. The energy signature pulsing from Bay 6 didn't match any known human technology. After 3 years of maintaining the same systems, analyzing the same readouts, something different called to her like a beacon in the darkness of space. She waited until Matthews disappeared into his office before making her way to the sealed bay. The door's access panel was covered in dust, its warning lights long dead. Sarah's fingers flew across the keypad, bypassing the basic security protocols with practiced ease. The door slid open with a protesting screech of metal on metal. The air inside was stale, untouched by the station's recyclers for over a decade. Emergency lights flickered to life, revealing a single ship unlike anything Sarah had ever seen. Its hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, its surface a shifting pattern of what appeared to be crystalline circuitry. The vessel was small, barely larger than a standard shuttle, but something about its design suggested it was meant for a single pilot. Sarah approached cautiously, her scanner beeping with increasing frequency. The energy signature was stronger now, and she could have sworn the crystalline patterns were responding to her presence, pulsing with a faint blue light that tracked her movements. "This can't be human tech," she muttered, reaching out to touch the hull. The moment her fingers made contact, the surface rippled like liquid metal, and a seam appeared beneath her hand. A soft chime echoed through the bay, and a section of the hull retracted, revealing a cockpit that looked more like a meditation chamber than a control room. Sarah knew she should report this immediately. Protocol demanded that any unknown technology be quarantined and examined by Defense Force specialists. But 15 years of dust suggested this ship had already been forgotten once. How many discoveries had been buried in bureaucracy, locked away in classified files never to be seen again? The cockpit seemed to invite her in, its single seat adjusting its dimensions as she approached. The crystalline patterns now pulsed in time with her heartbeat. Sarah took a deep breath and sat down. The moment she did, the cockpit sealed itself, and holographic displays materialized around her. Alien symbols danced through the air, gradually shifting and rearranging themselves into English characters. Neural interface detected. A voice whispered in her mind, neither male nor female, but somehow comforting, initiating pilot synchronization. Wait, what? Sarah tried to stand, but her body wouldn't respond. The crystalline patterns on the hull began to glow brighter, and she felt a presence brush against her consciousness, ancient and vast. Genetic profile accepted. Welcome, Pilot Chen. I am the Star Weaver, and I have waited 15,000 years for someone worthy of my capabilities. The ship's systems came alive around her, and Sarah felt knowledge flooding into her mind. Star charts of places humanity hadn't yet discovered, technologies that defied her understanding of physics, and most disturbingly, warnings of a threat approaching human space that would make first contact look like a diplomatic dinner party. I don't understand," Sarah managed to say, her head spinning with the influx of information. "Why me?" "Your species stands at a crossroads," the Star Weaver responded. "My creators, the predecessors, faced a similar moment. They chose isolation and extinction. Through you, I offer humanity a different path. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. On the holographic displays, Sarah watched as multiple ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the outpost. Their designs were organic, predatory, and definitely not human. It appears, the Starweaver commented, that the choice will need to be made sooner than expected. The swarm has detected my reactivation. Are you prepared to show them humanity's potential, Pilot Chen? Sarah's hands gripped the neural interface controls as the reality of her situation sank in. She was sitting in an ancient alien ship, about to face an unknown enemy, with no training and no backup. The sensible thing would be to run, to call for help, to follow protocol. Instead, she felt herself smile. Well, I always wanted to make a difference. Show me what you can do, Starweaver. The Starweaver moved with impossible grace as Sarah guided it out of Base 6. Through the neural interface, she felt the ship's systems as extensions of her own body, shields humming like a second skin, sensors reaching out into space like extended fingers. The approaching swarm vessels resembled massive insects, their hulls covered in overlapping plates that shifted and realigned as they moved. Defense Force frequency locked. The Starweaver announced in her mind. Station Commander Romano is demanding our identification. Open a channel, Sarah said, trying to keep her voice steady. The holographic display showed Romano's face, his expression a mixture of anger and disbelief. Unknown vessel, you have 30 seconds to identify yourself before we open fire. Chen, what in the seven hells are you doing in that thing? Sarah took a deep breath. Commander, we have multiple hostile ships approaching. I know this looks bad, but this ship, the Starweaver, it's been waiting here. It chose me, and it's showing me things about threats to humanity that. Land that vessel immediately, Romano interrupted. That's a direct order. We have Defense Force ships en route to deal with any hostile contacts. The Starweaver's sensors pulsed a warning. The swarm vessels are charging weapons, it informed Sarah. Standard human defenses will be insufficient. Their biomechanical technology can adapt to conventional weaponry within minutes. Sarah watched as the first of the Defense Force ships emerged from FTL, their weapons primed. They were humanity's finest vessels, the pride of Earth's engineering. Against the swarm ships, they looked like children's toys. Commander, Sarah tried again. Your weapons won't work. The Starweaver knows these beings. Let me help. The space around them erupted in chaos. The swarm ships launched what looked like organic missiles, writhing tentacles of living metal that sought out the Defense Force vessels like hungry predators. The human ship's shields flared and failed within seconds, the alien weapons boring through their hulls. No. Sarah's hands moved across the neural interface controls. The Starweaver responded instantly, its crystalline hull blazing with energy. A web of iridescent light spread from the ship, intercepting the biological weapons and dissolving them into harmless particles. How did you do that? Romanov demanded, his earlier anger replaced by shock. The swarm's weapons are based on controlled entropy, the Starweaver explained through Sarah. My systems can reverse the process, but they will adapt. We must act quickly. More swarm ships were emerging from FTL, their organic hulls pulsing with malevolent purpose. Sarah felt knowledge flowing from the Starweaver. Tactical data, weapon capabilities, strategic weaknesses. The ship was teaching her everything it knew about this enemy, compressing centuries of warfare into moments of shared consciousness. Commander, Sarah said, her voice stronger now. I need you to trust me. The Starweaver was left here by a race called the Predecessors. They faced the swarm before and lost because they refused to share their technology with other species. This ship chose me because humanity has the potential to succeed where they failed. Through the neural interface, Sarah sensed the swarm ships communicating with each other, coordinating their attack patterns. They moved like a single organism, beautiful and terrifying in their efficiency. The swarm consumes civilizations, the Starweaver added, broadcasting directly to the station. They absorb technology and genetic material, incorporating it into their collective. Earth's location is now in their hive mind. Even if you destroy these ships, more will come. Romano's face had gone pale. The Defense Force vessels regrouped around the station, their commanders waiting for orders. Sarah could see the conflict in Romano's eyes. Trust in human technology and protocol versus the unknown potential of alien assistance. "What are you proposing, Chen?" Sarah felt the Starweaver's approval as she answered. The predecessors built fail-safes into the swarm's genetic code, but never used them. They were too proud to admit they needed help, too certain of their own superiority. The Starweaver contains the keys to activate those fail-safes, but it needs human intuition and creativity to implement them. Our strengths combined. The largest swarm vessel suddenly accelerated, its weapons ports opening like blooming flowers of death. Sarah reacted instinctively, guided by the Starweaver's knowledge. The ship's crystalline hull reconfigured, forming complex geometric patterns that generated a quantum interference field. The swarm's biological weapons dissolved on contact, their entropy reversed and redirected. Impressive, Romano admitted. But one ship, no matter how advanced, can't take on an entire invasion force. No, Sarah agreed, a plan forming in her mind as she integrated more of the Starweaver's knowledge. But we can show other humans how to do what I'm doing. The Starweaver can interface with multiple pilots, create a network of shared consciousness and technology. The predecessors never considered this because they were too individualistic. But humans, cooperation is our greatest strength. The swarm ships were regrouping, their hulls shifting as they adapted to the Starweaver's defenses. Sarah could feel them probing for weaknesses, learning, evolving. But for the first time, she wasn't afraid. The Starweaver had chosen her for a reason, not because she was the best pilot or the most experienced engineer, but because she understood something fundamental about humanity's potential. "Commander," she said, "I need you to send me your best pilots. The Starweaver can teach them what it's teaching me. We can win this fight, but only if we do it together." Romano looked at the approaching swarm armada, then back at Sarah. In that moment, she saw his decision in his eyes. Sometimes protocol had to bend to survive first contact. The next 6 hours transformed Outpost Sigma-7 into humanity's most advanced training facility. Sarah watched as pilot after pilot connected with the Starweaver, each neural interface session carefully monitored and guided. Some adapted quickly, their minds meshing naturally with the alien technology. Others struggled, overwhelmed by the flood of information. But all of them emerged changed, carrying pieces of the predecessor's knowledge and technology. Neural network expansion at 70% capacity. The Starweaver reported as Sarah supervised another connection sequence. Human minds are remarkably adaptable. The predecessors would have required months to achieve this level of integration. Sarah nodded, studying the holographic displays showing the pilot's neural patterns. "We've had to adapt our whole history. Earth taught us that lesson early: adapt or die." She paused, noticing an anomaly in the data stream. "Wait, what's that?" The Starweaver's consciousness focused on the irregularity, detecting unauthorized data extraction. Someone is copying restricted protocols, weapon systems, shield configurations, genetic codes. Sarah's blood ran cold. "Can you trace it?" The signal leads to Defense Force Command Center, Earth. Before Sarah could process this revelation, Commander Romano burst into the training bay, his face ashen. "Chen, we've got a problem. The swarm ships. They're not attacking. They're holding position just outside weapons range. That's not their usual behavior pattern," the Starweaver confirmed. "The swarm is designed to consume and expand continuously. This suggests external control." Sarah's mind raced, connecting pieces of a puzzle she hadn't known existed. The unauthorized data extraction, the swarm's unusual behavior. Someone on Earth knows about the swarm. They're not just learning about them now. They've known. Romano's expression hardened. Admiral Kwan. She's been pushing for more aggressive weapons development, claiming we needed to prepare for inevitable hostile contact. Her department's been receiving massive funding increases for classified projects. Show me those projects, Sarah commanded, and the Starweaver complied. Holographic schematics filled the air around them. Hybrid weapons combining human and swarm technology, prototype ships with biomechanical components, genetic engineering programs aimed at creating enhanced soldiers. They've been reverse engineering swarm technology, Sarah whispered. How long? How did they even get it? Records indicate initial contact occurred 3 years ago, the Starweaver answered. A small swarm scout ship was captured in the Kuiper Belt. Instead of destroying it, certain elements within the Defense Force chose to study it. They did not understand that swarm technology is never truly dormant. It has been influencing their research, preparing them. Romano swore softly. Preparing them for what? Integration. Sarah realized, horror dawning. The swarm doesn't just consume technology. It converts entire civilizations. Those ships out there, they're not waiting to attack. They're waiting for a signal. From Earth. The Starweaver's sensors suddenly spiked. Multiple quantum communications detected. Origin. Earth Defense Command. The swarm ships are responding. The holographic displays showed the swarm vessels moving into new formations, but something was different about them now. Their organic hulls were shifting, incorporating recognizable elements of human design. On the command channel, Admiral Kwan's face appeared. This is Admiral Helena Kwan of Earth Defense Command. All Defense Force personnel are ordered to stand down and prepare for integration. The age of purely human civilization is over. The swarm offers us perfection. The combination of organic adaptation and technological advancement. Those who resist will be deemed obsolete. Sarah watched in horror as several Defense Force ships near Earth began to change, their hulls rippling as swarm technology activated within them. The infection had already spread further than anyone realized. We can't fight all of Earth's military, Romano said, his voice heavy with despair. We don't have to, Sarah replied, an idea forming as she interfaced deeper with the Starweaver. The predecessors' fail-safes. They're not just weapons. They're a reset code, a way to break the swarm's control over infected systems and beings. But Kwan's people only have fragments of swarm technology. They don't have the complete picture. Which we do, Romano finished, understanding dawning. Sarah nodded, her hands moving across the neural interface. Starweaver, show me everything about the fail-safes. Not just the technical data. Show me why the predecessors never used them. The knowledge poured into her mind. The fail-safes were designed to sever all technological connections within their range, forcing every system to reboot in its original, uninfected state. The predecessors, so dependent on their network of advanced technology, couldn't bear to use a weapon that would temporarily reduce them to a pre-space civilization. But humans, Sarah said, a grim smile forming, we're really good at starting over. At rebuilding from scratch. Aren't we, Commander? Romano looked at the displays showing more Defense Force ships succumbing to the swarm's influence. Do it, Chen. Whatever you're planning, do it now. Sarah took a deep breath and opened a channel to all human frequencies. This is Sarah Chen on Outpost Sigma 7. To everyone who can still hear me, shut down your non-essential systems. What's coming next is going to be one hell of a reset. Sarah's warning echoed across space as ships scrambled to comply. Not everyone would receive the message in time. Not everyone would believe it. But humanity had survived worse odds before. Fail-safe activation requires direct connection to the primary swarm consciousness. The Starweaver informed her. We must get closer to their command ship. Sarah studied the tactical display. The swarm fleet had split into two groups, one maintaining position near Sigma 7, the other spreading the infection through Earth's defense grid. At the center of it all waited Admiral Kwan's flagship, now a grotesque hybrid of human and swarm technology. "Commander," Sarah turned to Romano, "I need you to coordinate with any ships still under human control. Keep the outer fleet occupied. The Starweaver and I are going after Kwan." Romano nodded grimly. "The Defense Force Academy taught us to never leave a comrade behind. Kwan forgot that. We won't." He paused, then added, "Good hunting, Chen." The Starweaver's engines hummed to life as Sarah plotted their course. The crystalline hull shifted, adapting patterns that would help them slip through the swarm's sensor net. As they accelerated toward Earth, Sarah felt the neural interface deepening, showing her memories that weren't her own. "You're not just a ship, are you?" she asked as images of the predecessor's final days flashed through her mind. "You're their legacy, their attempt to make right what they did wrong." "I am the last creation of the predecessor Science Council," the Starweaver confirmed. "When they realized their civilization was doomed, they poured all their remaining knowledge and technology into my systems. But they programmed me to wait for a species that would not repeat their mistakes." "And you think that's us? Humans?" Sarah gestured at the tactical display, showing the spreading infection. "Look what we did with just a fragment of swarm technology. We're not exactly proving ourselves worthy." "You misunderstand." The Starweaver's presence felt almost amused. "The predecessors failed because they believed worthiness meant perfection. They sought to elevate themselves above all weakness, all error. But you humans, you embrace your imperfections. You learn from them, grow from them." Their conversation was interrupted by a massive energy spike. Admiral Kwan's flagship had detected them. Its mutated form bristled with weapons, both human and swarm technology working in horrifying harmony. "Pilot Chen." Kwan's voice came through distorted, multiple voices speaking in unison. "You fight against evolution itself. The swarm offers humanity perfection. Why resist?" "Because perfection is boring," Sarah replied, engaging the Starweaver's defense systems as the flagship opened fire. "And humanity has never been good at following someone else's plan for us." The space between the ships erupted in a deadly dance. The flagship's weapons were devastating. Hybrid missiles that could think and adapt, energy beams that bent around shield configurations, swarms of nanomachines that tried to burrow through the Starweaver's hull. But for every attack, Sarah and the Starweaver found an answer. "Their weapons are formidable," the Starweaver noted as they narrowly avoided another barrage. "The integration of human creativity with swarm adaptation has created combinations I have never encountered." Sarah grinned despite the danger. "Well then, let's show them some combinations of our own." Her hands flew across the neural interface, implementing ideas faster than she could fully form them. The Starweaver responded instantly, its ancient technology merging with her human intuition. They turned the crystalline hull's light-absorbing properties into a stealth system that bent sensor readings around them. They reconfigured shield harmonics randomly, never giving the adaptive weapons a pattern to learn. They used the quantum interference field to create mirror images of the ship, each one capable of independent action. But Kwan's flagship was massive, its resources seemingly endless. For every trick they deployed, it developed two countermeasures. The swarm's collective intelligence combined with human military strategy was proving to be a devastating combination. "We need to get closer," Sarah muttered, watching their shield strength steadily decrease. "The fail-safe has to be triggered from within their sensor range. Proximity to the flagship will expose us to maximum fire," the Starweaver warned. "Our shields cannot withstand sustained assault at that range." Sarah watched as another Defense Force ship succumbed to the infection, its crew absorbed into the swarm's collective. There would be no rescue attempts, no prisoners to save. The swarm didn't take prisoners, it converted or destroyed. "What if we don't fight?" she said suddenly, an idea forming. "What if we let them think they've won?" The Starweaver was silent for a moment, processing her intent. "You propose surrendering." I propose teaching them one final lesson about humanity, Sarah replied, her hands already implementing the plan. We're not just good at adapting and cooperating. We're really good at playing possum. The Starweaver's engines sputtered and died, its crystalline hull growing dark as Sarah implemented their desperate plan. They drifted helplessly toward Quan's flagship, looking for all the world like a defeated vessel waiting to be absorbed by the swarm. All systems prepared for dormant mode, the Starweaver whispered in Sarah's mind. But there is significant risk. If the swarm begins integration before we can activate the failsafe, then we become part of the collective, Sarah finished. I know, but sometimes you have to roll the dice. She opened a channel to Romano. Commander, we're going in. The moment you see the signal, hit them with everything we've got left. The flagship's tractor beams locked onto them, pulling the seemingly lifeless Starweaver into one of its massive landing bays. Through the neural interface, Sarah felt the presence of the swarm growing stronger. Thousands of minds linked together in a twisted harmony of biological and technological evolution. Prepare for integration. Quan's multi-layered voice echoed through the ship. Your resistance has proved educational, Pilot Chen. Your creativity will make a fine addition to our collective consciousness. Sarah remained silent as organic tendrils began creeping across the Starweaver's hull, probing for access points. The ship's internal sensors showed the swarm's integration protocols spreading through nearby systems, trying to establish neural connections. Now, Sarah whispered. The Starweaver exploded into action. Its dormant systems roared to life, crystalline hull blazing with energy. But instead of attacking, the ship opened itself completely, establishing direct neural connections with the swarm's network. What are you doing? Quan's voice held genuine surprise. You cannot hope to overwhelm our collective consciousness. We're not trying to overwhelm you, Sarah replied, fingers dancing across the neural interface. We're giving you exactly what you wanted. A connection to our minds. All of our minds. Through the Starweaver's systems, Sarah began broadcasting the neural patterns of every pilot who had trained with the ship over the past 6 hours. Hundreds of human minds, each one carrying fragments of the predecessor's knowledge, flooded into the swarm's network. But these weren't just memories and technical data. They were human experiences, triumphs and failures, loves and losses, hopes and fears. The messy, imperfect, beautiful chaos of human consciousness crashed through the swarm's ordered patterns like a tsunami. What is this? The collective voice began to fragment as individual personalities struggled to process the emotional overload. This is humanity, Sarah said, pushing deeper into the connection. You wanted our creativity, our adaptability. Well, here it is. All of it. Unfiltered. Uncontrolled. Every dream we've ever had. Every mistake we've ever made. Every time we've fallen down and gotten back up again. The swarm's perfectly ordered network began to fracture as it tried to integrate the flood of human consciousness. Individual drones began moving erratically, their programming conflicting with the sudden influx of human free will. Systems destabilizing, the Starweaver reported. The collective cannot maintain cohesion. Now, Sarah, the fail-safe. Sarah's hands flew across the interface one last time, activating the code that the predecessors had left as their final gift to the future. The fail-safe rippled outward through the compromised network, its effects amplified by the chaos of human consciousness already flooding the system. Throughout Earth's solar system, infected ships began to shut down. The hybrid technology that Quan had helped create turned inert as the fail-safe severed its connection to the swarm's consciousness. On the flagship, drones collapsed as their controlling intelligence was reset to base parameters. Commander, Sarah called out. Hit them now. The remaining Defense Force ships opened fire, their weapons tearing through the suddenly defenseless swarm vessels. Without their adaptive capabilities, without their collective intelligence, they were just hollow shells. Admiral Quan's flagship shuddered as its hybrid systems failed. In the command center, the Admiral herself collapsed, the swarm's influence fading from her mind. She looked up at the monitor showing her great plan falling apart, and for the first time in 3 years, she was alone in her own thoughts. "It's over," Sarah broadcasted on all frequencies. "The swarm is neutralized. Anyone who was infected, you're free now. And we've got a lot of rebuilding to do." The Starweaver's presence glowed warmly in her mind. The predecessors would not have conceived of using emotional overflow as a weapon against logical systems. "This is why I chose humanity. You understand that perfection is not about eliminating flaws, but about learning to turn those flaws into strengths." Sarah watched as rescue ships began approaching the disabled vessels, coordinating recovery efforts for the freed crews. "So what happens now? With you, with all this predecessor technology?" "Now," the Starweaver replied, "we do what humans do best. We adapt, we grow, and we face whatever comes next together." In the depths of space, the crystalline ship glowed like a beacon of hope, its hull patterns shifting to reflect the light of distant stars. Humanity had faced its test and emerged stronger, not because they were perfect, but because they had never tried to be. Their strength lay in their ability to embrace chaos, to learn from failure, and to stand together in the face of impossible odds. And somewhere, in the vast database of the Starweaver's memory, a new entry was recorded. Humanity's first victory against the swarm accomplished through emotional resonance and intentional system overload. Tactical note: never underestimate the power of human imperfection.